when the LinkedIn feed starts happening, but haven't been very good at it. So I think we can get it started here. Click that button and welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday, August 7th. August 7th already. Here with a special guest, starting up a new series, helping people understand what the heck a super admin is, could be, should be, what we want it to be in HubSpot. Lucy Abal, how you doing?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Chris. Thank you. Yes, thank you for having me. So I'm doing great today. Super excited. A little bit nervous about our talk today. But as this is a heart-to-heart talk, we're going to be completely honest and truthful about everything that we know, share our knowledge, share our experience, so that this could be useful for everyone that is hearing us.
Agreed. And I'm very much looking forward to this conversation. And a couple things came to mind as you suggested, this topic. Went through the super admin boot camp myself, last year, helping to give, George B. Thomas some feedback on the sessions he's doing. We're at the admin hugs every week or watching those recordings, and just the expansion of HubSpot. And how do you, like us as content creators or trainers, like how do we even start and start to know the best ways to help people as they come and say, oh, I've got to admin this system now, or I've got to take care of HubSpot for the organization, figuring out the base level content, where to start. Why do you think it is so confusing right now?
Well, so I think the first confusing thing is differentiating a super admin as a role or as a responsibility from the HubSpot permit. That is the first thing, because they go hand by hand, but these are different things. So one, from the HubSpot point of view, is just a permit. It's just being, as some of our students in the bootcamp say, it's like being God or having superpowers, being able to do everything. But sometimes you give super admin permits in HubSpot to someone that doesn't know how to use HubSpot. So that is kind of weird. But what is a super admin actually? So I think that you mentioned before in your post, is it someone technical that this compared to a Salesforce admin? So a super admin is not necessarily someone technical. You don't need to know 100% of HubSpot. You don't need to solve everything of HubSpot. Yes, the ideal is to know 80 plus 90% of the tool, or at least to know where to look for. But what is the main role? The main role of a super admin is to understand all of the team's needs, the teams that are working in the CRM, and be able to recommend the best way of implementing that in HubSpot. So HubSpot is a very complete platform. We have a lot of hubs. We have a lot of features. One of the super admin powers should be knowing all of the hubs, because a lot of the things that we get to customize in the CRM are cross hubs. So, for example, whenever we are talking in the bootcamp about record customization, you can be talking about contacts for marketing, you can be talking about deals for sales, or you can be talking about tickets in Service Hub. So record customization goes across every hub in the CRM. So that is one of the main things that a super admin gets to have, is to have a complete vision of the CRM and understanding how the CRM is working. And the CRM, actually HubSpot or any other software platform, they're standard. You get to have this a standard customization or a standard way of being. But then a super admin, more like a CRM consultant, like any other of us partners or freelancers get to do, you get to think about how is the best way of doing this in the CRM for my business. So, for example, it's not the same for SDRs or BDRs teams how they could work on the CRM. So At some point, some companies choose to work in 1 or 2 steps at the deals pipeline. Some companies get to use the new prospecting area. Some companies want to work at a target account and lists or views level. There's not right or wrong answers here. So the important part here is that the CRM needs to understand how their company works, how their team's dynamics are, and what is the best way for them to implement in the CRM. It's not a HubSpot technical problem. It's more like a business solution situation or challenge.
Yes, I think that is a great way to put it. And I'm starting to, connect more dots about why we have some of these, more existential problems, if you will, about, why people don't use CRMs, why we've had such a hard time getting adoption in certain industries. And, I think a good example earlier this year, I had a friend reach out, and she's a part of a systems admin team at a larger organization. They have 200, seats. Um, and her request was like, she was from the Salesforce ecosystem, and there was math you could do over there that says, this many users equals this many admins, basically. And she couldn't find anything similar to that in the HubSpot, ecosystem. And the way I approached it is like, I'm not sure, like, I actually don't think we should be thinking about it that way. But it kind of, and what you just said now, like, if that's the way it's been approached, like of course we have these problems with businesses not knowing how to like apply CRM to their business. And when it comes to something like HubSpot, and you've got a super admin that, let's say you have all 6 hubs and your company's using all 6 hubs, we can't expect this person to be the website manager, like the content strategy manager, the sales enablement manager, the help desk manager. Like, but that's often what happens when we say, oh, you're in charge of HubSpot, right?
Yeah, so I think that one of the main things that a super admin does is having conversations with all of the involved teams in the CRM, because you need to unify criteria, make definitions, and then implement in the CRM. So the most challenging part that we all hear when we have a new customer is that we don't have standard processes. Everyone does whatever they can, whatever they want in the CRM. So the CRM is a mess. And that is why because you don't have someone caring about having the CRM in order and adapting the CRM to their needs. That is why this discomfort happens in the CRM, and adoption tends to drop, and churn comes at some point. And the main reason of that is not having these conversations, not having a super admin, being able to coordinate all of the teams and being able to make definitions that solve everyone's cases. The second thing is that people tend to think that the setup you do, the onboarding or the implementation you have done in the CRM is once in a lifetime. And that is the worst misconception that they have. Because companies evolved, your market evolves, your customers evolve, your CRM should evolve, your processes change. So you have to be updating the CRM to solve your new challenges, to accompany you and your business into working in a different way. Your processes need to change. You cannot define your processes and forget about them. Let them die in a Google Drive or in a Dropbox forever. You need to be always doing. So there is this characteristic of a super admin's mentality that is always be looking forward. So you always so that you can always know when a different situation presents, what tools you have available to be solving that or attending that need with the CRM or with other apps, because we're going to talk about that later. So I think those are the main things that people get confused about the CRM and the needs of a super admin. Should I need a super admin? Should I have someone in the team? Isn't the same thing about having the super admin permits in the CRM? So no, it's not the same thing as super admin permits. You will definitely benefit of having a super admin for your CRM in your team that could be able or should be able to talk with everyone, every team involved in the CRM to find the best way of updating, optimizing, and carrying your business in.
Yes. And I think that this is why we have come up with new titles or new departments like RevOps as an example, as like thinking back to what I had internally, right? And so many of these systems just lack ownership as far as who's in charge of this system being a successful tool for all of the people that we ask to use it every day, right? And when we think about it from the IT perspective, usually, IT might be in charge of the system, but all they're really doing is break fix, like making sure it's still functioning, but not really talking to any of the users about like what could be better, right? But then, often, especially with HubSpot, I brought it in from a marketing perspective, like, okay, we can start to show people how this can be easier, but then I'm not in charge of the sales team or any of the other teams that need to be using it. And we need to be thinking about processes. So whether it's RevOps or not, right, understanding that one, you need somebody who owns the success of the system and its usage, for the business. And in order to do that, that person needs the access to all the users to understand how they're using it, what they like about it, what they don't like, and never going behind, the back of managers and department leaders, but really being able to assimilate that information in a objective way, right? That is not driven by, sales commission plans, the needs of marketing team, getting more awareness, and having that kind of third party within the organization that can look at it this way and can wear that hat and focus on that hat. Now you're in a place where the investment in HubSpot has a chance, honestly. As long as it's somebody's side job or an extra hat, you just run into all of these struggles. So let's say we put that person in place. Is there any kind of like, if somebody comes in and you have no idea what their business does and how they plan to use HubSpot, and somebody comes in and says, okay, I just got the hat of HubSpot super admin, or I just got hired in as a super admin. We discussed step one, which is like understand the strategy that HubSpot is going to help execute for the business. After that, what are the basic things that we start with, that no matter what the strategy is, no matter what they plan to do with it, no matter what hub they might be focused on, that a super admin will need to, be the expert on for that company?
So I think you mentioned the first step should be meeting every team. So having a conversation with every team, just to understand their needs, to understand their processes, map all the processes, how they connect or not with each other, because sometimes processes do not connect, and then they should be able to understand, like in a big picture. That is the superpower of a super admin. They should be able to see the big picture, all the processes, all the flows, since a lead is created in the CRM, how it will change from marketing to sales, from sales to customer success, to the support team. Everything should be connected. Everything is connected at some point. We might be noticing that or not. So I think that the first steps are those. Meeting with every team, understanding their needs, understanding how they work, their processes, mapping those processes. So you mentioned before the role of a RevOps team member. You know, in the last bootcamp, one of our students asked or actually told us the situation that he was kind of the super admin, among other things, in the company, and the company was evaluating adding a RevOps manager into the team. So they asked him if this was going to be a shared role, if there's going to be an overlap of responsibilities. So he didn't know what to answer. I think the RevOps specialist is more focused on business metrics, business goals, of course, in revenue, in generating revenue. And they could be working in HubSpot or not. In general, they work with a lot of other platforms, in Excel sheets, in other third-party apps of reporting and metrics. So the super admin should be the best ally to understand how they could get that information from the CRM. What is the best way? If there is a gap in the information they are needing, if they don't have that information available, how can we make that happen? So I think they are the perfect match. It's like when we used to say in the past, okay, the designer and the developer, they are the perfect couple. Okay, so right now the super admin and the RevOps manager are the best friends. They are the best couple to be working in the CRM with HubSpot at the company level. So I think,
Okay.
yeah.
So basically, and we still haven't talked about the product itself yet, right? So we're like steps 4 and 5, like until we actually get in and we're doing any setup, because we've got to understand the bigger picture. We've got to understand the entire team that's going to be using the system. Got to understand how all the processes work and how they all come together. Usually this is where the change management, HubSpot can help a lot with making the change management easier when you do that stuff up front, right? And that's why if you don't do it up front, and this is where I made this mistake, right? I go and I talk to everybody for 3 months. I'm the new marketing leader. Let me hear all the pains and frustrations. We're using Salesforce. We've got ERP customer data locked away that we can't see. I don't know where leads are coming from. Our website's not great. It's like, okay, I know how to solve all this. I'm just going to go over here and come up with a solution. And then I come back, 3 months later. All right, here's HubSpot, everybody. I fixed it. Right? Like that part, what I was missing, which I got from the RevOps bootcamp, earlier this year is that mapping process. It's the confirmation. Like I was confirming, okay, we want our customer experience to be this. We want our education to be this. We want to create more content. But I wasn't doing the confirmation of, okay, this is what the data looks like. This is what we need it to look like. This is how it's going to flow through the system. This is who's accessing it, right? So it's such an important step of mapping the process and doing the data mapping. We cannot understate that. Like, if we could just take a minute there, why is this is the thing that is on everybody's list, but very rarely do they have a current state map that is up to date, or very rarely can they prioritize it to actually get it done. Why do you think that is?
Because companies are complicated, people are complicated, processes, as I mentioned before, change. So nobody wants to have the hot potato in hands. Nobody wants to be responsible of that. But I think when someone really gets to put the super admin hats on and says, okay, I'm going to take over now. I'm going to be the one taking care of this. There's a lot of value to show about this. One thing that we also talk in the bootcamp is everybody is super eager to know, how can I audit a portal? Okay, so wait a minute. The first thing I said is, okay, you're going to start auditing. Yeah, and I have to change, and I start taking and making change. No. First, you see, you make a list, you prioritize, you say who's responsible of what thing that you need to change, what is the optimized process. You present this to the management, to the stakeholders, and once they agree that this is needed, that this is super important, that they need to be changing this ASAP, then you get to work. Because if not, if you start changing things in the back and everyone is still doing things wrong, you're just going to be dedicating thousands of hours to correct wrong things. Nobody's taking care of doing things properly. And you're not getting value for your time. You're not even differentiating for a data entry in the company that someone fixing things. You're going to end up being a mice in a, I don't know, in a closed room that nobody notices because you're in the back. So there's a big difference here, because you can't be reactive only, I don't know, doing or actually trying to break things that are not working. Or you could be proactive and actually putting in value your actions and how this is going to add value, save time, save money, because there are a lot of things that could save money in companies. And I can tell you a lot of examples. The first one is marketing contacts. People don't get to be taking a look at your marketing contacts, and you could be paying thousands of dollars to have for contacts that you're not even marketing, for contacts that you don't even have contact type. And we have a lot of example of customers that, for example, today I got a HubSpot renewal, having the customers save 6,000 euros a year. Okay, you can say, oh, okay, 6,000 euros is not a lot, yeah, but it's a lot of money, because you can do a lot of other things with $6,000 or euros. So that is the role of a super admin. That is all the value that you get to add to a company. I have another example that I wanted to share with you. Is last week I had a call about prospecting workspace. So a customer came and said, I saw that there's this new prospecting workspace and I want to start using it, and I don't know what it does, but I want to start using it. So wait a minute. Okay. So what do you know about the prospecting work? No, nothing. Okay. What do you think it is? Why do you think you need it? So what is your current process? He was part of the marketing team, but they had to do the handoff to the sales team. So there was kind of a qualifying process in the middle. So, okay, we were talking about, at some point he said, okay, so now that we're talking, should I be using prospecting workspace? And I say, okay, so for the past 30 minutes, what you have been telling me, I can say for what I have heard that you could be using prospective workspace. Why? Because of this. Okay, and why shouldn't I? Okay, the only thing that could make me think about you not using this is this and this. Okay, so I have more benefits than cons. Yes, okay, so we agree that we are moving forward with the prospective. But I could have done an approach of, okay, yeah, let's go, let's set up everything in the prospecting works, and I could have left him using it. But that doesn't add value. That doesn't solve for the business challenge that they were having. That was qualifying marketing contacts into sales qualified leads to send them to the sales team. So those are the little differences that you get to do. You get to be reactive and do the things that they are asking, or you get to say, okay, wait a minute. I need to understand, what is your challenge? What are you trying to solve? How does this fit into the whole business flow? So I can tell you if yes, this is a good choice or no. So I think that is something that people need to start thinking about, to become a super admin, ask more questions. Don't take anything for granted. Don't be just reactive and start doing things that people is asking you, because they're going to ask a lot of things, and people, they don't understand the CRM the way that you probably understand the CRM.
Uh,
So,
and
well, that is one.
I love that example because, uh, thankfully, I think we'll be able to provide many more examples like that one because we know HubSpot updates make it very hard not to see the new shiny object. And a couple of questions that come up, and one I had to start asking myself, and as I work with admins, I often ask them, like, when we go through your task list, the things you feel like you need to do in HubSpot, especially when it's as impactful as something like a sales team that then needs to use that whole system, right? It's like, is anybody asking you to do this, right? This will to change, or this, like, I need to get this done by a certain deadline. Just sometimes it helps to ask that question, like, who do you feel like you need to do this and that's why it's happening, or is somebody actually asking and expecting this of you? Sometimes that's the easiest way to make space for you to get things done. But number two, I was going to bring this up as an example, and I think we could dive in more, in an upcoming episode. But when you see things like prospecting workspace or sales workspace, and it's all over LinkedIn, so your sales manager is going to see it and the admin might see it, like, the responsibility of who sees that, who evaluates it, who implements it, how we're working with the sales team, right? Because that's where, as I was creating the thumbnail for this event today, and I was picking icons in Canva, I just typed in super admin, right? And all the icons, except for one, which is half of the one in the thumbnail, all the icons had something like one person with like a gear, right? And it's very easy to think about yourself as the admin, and it's just internal. I need to make the system work. I don't really care about users. I'm just cleaning data. But then I saw this other icon with these three people with the stars. Like, that's, for me, that's your role as an admin. Like, how many superstars and heroes can you create in your organization by making sure this system of record, this HubSpot platform, is working for them? And so many of these things that hit the product update loop is like, yeah, as much as we'd love to jump in there and do that, you're the person that we need to filter, like, hey, this might be a great idea, but this is all the stuff involved in making this happen. And if I don't at least talk to the sales leader first, it's not going to be successful. So I love you sharing that example.
Yeah, because betas or updates could be overwhelming. It is usually overwhelming for a customer. So my role, for example, is filtering among those 200 updates. These two are the ones that will work best for you and your company, the way you work, the way we are going to implement these two, only these two. It's okay if it doesn't fit the other 180 updates. It's okay. But you just need to think about those that are going to do an impact on your business. And as you were describing the logo, the icon, the best description that comes in mind is like an orchestra director. So the super admin should be an orchestra director. Every team is playing their own instrument, their own part. Everyone is doing the best way, the thing that they need to do. But the super admin is the one coordinating everything and making it sound beautiful, making it move forward and create the melody and the music. And I love that you use the word responsibility, because people tend to think about that word negatively. You're responsible of doing something. It also means like you're guilty of doing that. But I don't know if you have heard about Sadhguru. that it's an Indian philosopher, a yoga instructor. He loves to break that word in two. It's the response ability. So the super admin has the ability to respond given a specific situation or challenge of the team the best way that it's possible for them in that moment, in that situation. So it's not about putting hands on in the CRM and start doing things and fixing things. No, it's just thinking about what is the best response of that. And I really love that. In my personal life, but also in the workspace, it's kind of useful to think your role that way. You have the ability to respond. You have the ability to tell people what is the best way of doing that in the CRM. It's not the same for you. It's not the same for me. Even among the same industry, it's not the same for two different companies. They could be doing the same thing because the dynamics are different. The teams are different. And the super admin should be able to see that and respond that way.
Yes, I love that. I love that being able to break down words like that and just think about them in different ways. And because really, just so much of this is just thinking about this in a little bit different ways, like assuming some positive intent, like your organization decided to invest in HubSpot for a reason. They decided to give you that responsibility for a reason. Like we all know it can have good outcomes, so let's all work together to do that. So I'm super excited to continue this series with you, and love the idea of helping people just kind of make HubSpot work better for your organization. That's the goal of a lot of the content, and we know people are looking for more content like this. So hopefully this was helpful, and
And
we'll be seeing more
let me
from
just add,
Lucy on
Chris.
this front.
Let me just add that anyone hearing us could be a super admin. You don't have to know everything to start. You just need to start to go on the path or on the way to know everything. So I encourage everyone to contact us to continue hearing our sessions about how to become a super admin, how to start, knowing more about the CRM, informing yourself, what are the tools that you have available, the resources that you have available. So definitely we're going to continue sharing more about this.
Yes, indeed. And I thank you again for sharing that knowledge and having this conversation. It's an important one. So to the viewers and listeners, when you think about what you're actually in charge of and what HubSpot's actually supposed to be doing or needs to be doing for the business, all the users you're supporting, look for the opportunities and let's grow. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. See you soon.